Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Excuse me. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk. Thinking right out here in my lab where I do what I do for you. I got two books I'm going to teach from today. I ain't into debunking, I'm just into teaching. So I got a good lesson for you today. We're going to talk about Djehuti. Heads up, let's go. It's lesson time. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right Thinker's mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right Thinker's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. You see where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I ask the question, do you know you? You will when I'm through. It's rhetorical. But if you have an answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to Mayat, be true. And this time, Djehuti, be true. When I teach you about the gods and goddesses from the Egyptian mythological concept, I'm telling you they're mythological characters. They're not real people. The same way the Bible people think that the Bible people are literally people, we know better. Well, I do. So let me try to give you a lesson about this Djehuti guy, or Hermes Trismegistus, or what's it called, Mercury, that everybody called. He's a concept, like Mayat. We give him identity. And the Djehuti, you notice him. I'll give you the lesson on this one right quick. Here we go. I'm in the book. This is the first one. This is Djehuti here. You see him by the hat. It looks like a Mexican sombrero, but no, that's the moon crescent with the sun disc with the feather Mayat. Those are all symbols of him and what he represents. I'm gonna go over that paragraph right here, then I'm gonna go to the other book. Right now, I'm in my Tree Life. Just to break down a lesson that's in here, and I get back to my other book. Matter of fact, I think that's Mayat. So this information is just to give you a quick lesson in Djehuti, because I see people getting the wrong idea. So I ain't here to debunk or to do nothing but teach a concept from my perspective, my understanding. Let's talk about the guy Djehuti right quick. It was said when Haru is blinded, it means that he is in the new moon phase. We'll break that down as we go. The new moon phase is what? Is a place of darkness, and there is what? No darkness like the darkness of ignorance of self. The ancient Egyptian proverb, that's what they tell you. That's how they felt about being ignorant of self. That's the worst thing going, okay? But the new moon phase is the prelude to what? To the waxing period. I'm going to break that down in 1 second. But the waxing period is where who? Djehuti. Not the Emerald Tablet, King of Atlantis. No, Djehuti, which is, I'm going to break that down. Djehuti comes into mind. Why? Because Djehuti symbolizes what? Intellect, hence thinking. The symbol of Djehuti, I showed you, was the crescent moon. So there, Haru Kente Ma is new moon preparing to grow. That's Haru in baby form. And I got a Haru in the form of Kansu, which is the son of Mu, and Amun, their son, the god of the moon god, which is Kansu. Another lesson, but that's all the information that pertinent to this guy right here. I showed you the picture of him. And he's half moon crescent. It looks like he got a sombrero on. Okay, when you see him, he's a symbol. He's not real. He's a symbol. The symbol of Djehuti is the crescent moon. So therefore, Haru Kente is the moon preparing to grow as a child. Growing what? The intellect increases in what? Knowledge of self. That's how you get to God, not belief. Increasing what? To the fullness. Gaining understanding. To what? The full moon period. The moon, 28-day cycle, is the female's menstrual cycle. And for the men, we have a purification cycle where you don't masturbate or waste your semen for 28 days. It's purified and it adds years to your life. Y'all don't have a clue about that, but that's another phase that our ancients used to what? Get closer to God. That's why your monks and your nuns don't get involved in sex. Why? They let the energy stay within themselves. Simple. Moving on. But the intellect increases. And once what? The most important symbol of Haru and the Lord Djehuti is what? The crescent moon. Sun disk on top with the crescent moon. Okay? Which what? Which uses as his crown. When you see Djehuti, that's what he has on his head. That's the sign. I got another one for you coming up, the forms of Djehuti. But let's talk about this right now. Now, Djehuti is the divinity that what? This is his job. To what? His job is to record teachings and also espouse them in the form of what? A spiritual preceptor. He was the perpetrator of writing what? The Medjugorje, writings from God. He's God's mind. He's got the order from God to teach. That's what he is. He's a concept, an aspect. Just like your Christ in religion, he never existed. Moving on. Djehuti represents intellectual development, and that is promoted through what? You ready? Writings and philosophical study, but not just of the scriptures, but also of the what? Iconographs, the knowing what they mean, the headdress. Okay, the iconographs, that's what that is. And you notice the following iconographs. They show you a sign of the moon. It's a 14-day waning and waxing period. Okay, quick lesson. Get this big book. Get in focus. See at the bottom down there? The first set, you say waning and then waxing. It comes and then it goes in 14-day period. And when a saw was cut up, he was cut up into 14 pieces, but the one piece was missing. Like the Humpty Dumpty, they couldn't put them back together again. Why? Because he missed it in one piece. So hence it was 13, but it was cut up into 14 pieces, symbolically representing the moon. Okay, so he ain't a real person. Close the book on that. Put it over here. Now let's get to one of my favorite books. I think I'm going to go to this next. But this is my girl, okay? Maya philosophy. This is what we've been practicing pretty much. But I'm going to break down right here the forms of Djehuti. See him right there? You see him at one time. He in full regalia, okay? The headdress, the double plumes, the feather. He good to go. Here you see him. He's described. He's your mind. He's your memory. He records everything from the beginning to the end. And he go into the baboon concept, and even the baboon keep records. That's what he do at night. He's a watch guard for Ra at night, but he represents. I'm going to break it down for you some more. Let's talk about the forms of Djehuti. I just showed them to you. Let's break it down. Forms of Djehuti. Djehuti and Mayat and Ra. Those are three things we're going to talk about right quick. Now, the god Djehuti is intimately related to the goddess Mayat. Mayat represents balance and justice. Djehuti represents thought, reasoning, right thinking. So he's my favorite, trust me. Okay, watch this. He is the divinity who was commissioned by who? Ra, to do what? Ra representing the supreme being, the ultimate, okay? To bring wisdom, teachings to what? The world. and established Maya in the realm of time and space. I gave the concept when Ra came out of the known, it was total chaos. First thing he did was, Maya, I need order, justice, and all the things that's divine. That's what she represents. She's not a real person. Djehuti, I need you to teach, keep right thinking, teach it to them, put it down. He's the writer of the supposed to be the measure letters, because he commissioned from God, which is Ra. Okay? That's the concept. That's all they are. Concepts. Ra, what's happened? He represented Maya in the realm of time and space. In order for anything to start, first thing there was, let there be light, and then there was Maya. Light and order, they go together. That's how they tie Maya and Djehuti together. Watch this. Ra, Djehuti, he is Ra's mind. Who? Djehuti is Ra's mind and heart. I told you, you got to put them two together to become one. That's when you'll know who you are. And Maya and Djehuti represents that. Watch this. Djehuti is the symbol. You ready for this? Right thinking, right reason. The link to the higher self. God don't want you to believe in him. God wants you to have knowledge of him, understand him. That way you can serve him, not yourself. And when the determination to pursue what? The divine arises, you want to live Maya. Now you got what they call, the struggle becomes what they call a holy war. What's the holy war? That's the difference in you doing right and wrong. And what happens? It becomes a holy war against what? You ready? Against ignorance and illusions where? Within one's own conscious, the ego mind. That's the holy war. It becomes the conscious mind with Djehuti, or we call him Haru, okay, intellect. In this process, watch this. If this process is not fully and completely understood, as they struggle to what? Overcome these is qualities of the ego self. To overcome your anger, overcome your hatred, to overcome your selfish greed, your bigotry, your hypocrisy, and your jealousy. Jealousy. I can go on, I'll stop there. But all these are negative concepts that you have as a person, and when you implement those, you are satanic, egoistic. When you control those, you become Haru, the true you. And all this is within oneself. To what? So the energy of the struggle now becomes what? Directed to what? The outside world of oneself in the form of what? You ready? Political, religious, social, ethnic, and gender, etc. Call all conflicts. You become combative and conflictive with everybody. And you get 10 people with that attitude in the same room. See where we're going with that? And that's just 10. Imagine millions. I'm just saying at that level. What they're trying to show you is you got control over you, and they're giving you the blueprint. And Djehuti is a perfect example. And watch this. Now, the moral struggle between who? Haru, your higher self, Set, your ego, lower self, do not end, watch this, with either destroying the other. Your ego is who you are, who you identify with. Haru is your what? Aspiration, your potential to be your best self. You got to put work in. Why? To beat the lower self and put him in what? Servitude position. Don't let him run nothing. Why? Most people ran by the ego, male and female. Why? They're ignorant. That's why. That's why. They think it's the devil. They think it's somebody outside themselves. Don't have a clue, the devil within. Remember that, the enemy within? That's the ignorant part that most people suffer through. But watch this. Now, the spiritual and the moral war between Set and Haru don't end with one destroying. Why? Haru pursues, your upper self pursues what? The reason, seeking counsel with who? The higher self, the wisdom from who? Djehuti, a.k.a. the true master and teacher. Now, wisdom follows what? The exercise of reason. Right reason follows the practice of what? Daily studying. Uh-oh, get them, Scooby. Ruh-roh. Some people don't want to do that. But when you are trying to improve yourself, you should work on that daily and studying, questioning, and then reflecting and inquiring into the nature of what truth. Set your lower self. There we go. What's this? He refused to abide by the decree of wisdom, which is the higher self. That's where the fight comes in. But he is eventually what? Sublimated. How? Through his own humiliation and ignorance of his better self. So if you can get him to concede, he'll be your best worker. That ego is full of pride. All it wants to do is show off. So when you put him in position to do what he needs to do, he will do it every time, without fail. Okay, I'll call him the honey badger. He loves a fight. So in the end, what happens? When you, the aspirant, you're aligned with all the divine forces, your lower self can now what? No longer struggle with the higher self. It has to give in. Okay, it says uncle. Okay, you put him in a chokehold and make him submit, and then keep your foot on his neck to keep him where you want him. Only time you let him up is when you need him to do what you need him to do, because that's what he's going to do. Moving on. The overwhelming force of what? Of your divine self pushes your lower self into what? Position of service. I love this. Rather than what? Mastership. His ego self was all he knew. Moving on. Just want you to understand that. And this is what is rightful place. Servitude, not mastership. Moving on. Almost done. I got a little bit, sorry, but I'm going to get this lesson out to you about Djehuti not being no man. It's a concept and aspect of your character which takes you from birth to death. He there the whole time, what? Keeping records. He's God's what? God's heart and mind. He's here, but you need him here at the end. Why? He going to speak for you here. This they don't need. Moving on. That's the concept. So now, from the Egyptian book of Coming Forth by Day, it describes what? The journey of the human soul. Where? In the realm of the afterlife. Ain't nobody been to the afterlife and came back and told us what's there. This is a theology. We tell you that from the beginning. So, well, nobody know. Conceptually, theological concepts. Moving on. So understand that. And what happens? They got a concept, and it describes what each man and woman must do to what? To survive death. In the coming forth into the light of day, that's life, illumination, eternal happiness, aka eternity, mortality. But if the spirit is not enlightened, that ain't gonna happen. So at the time of death, or prior to death, what happens? Your heart consciousness, which is symbolized by what? The Ab devours, of being what? Weighed against what? The feather of truth, symbolized by Mayat, the feather of Mayat. Here, what? Are godly faculties. Again, and they symbolized by who? Remember him? Anubis. That's your discernment to recognize right from wrong, truth from lie. That's another aspect. He ain't a real person either. He ain't a big dog, man, walking around a dog head. Okay, I see all those are mythological characters that we develop. Understand that. And they all have a symbolic purpose and reason. If you understood that, it all makes sense to you then. It makes sense to me. So it might be a little different. But when you understand them, all aspects of you, these are all things that's inside you. The Bible tells you the same thing about you too. Moving on. But they don't break it down that way. Where we at? Now, the feather of Mayat is symbolized what? Godly faculties, and symbolized by Anubis, who's your decision maker, discernment, and your boy, Djehuti. And our ability to what? Use them when? While on earth are judged. How, Mayat, did you live? In the heart of Mayat, the heart and eternal organs of the deceased are judged by the 42 judges who each in charge of what? One regulation. All 42 regulations of various guidelines for living make up the basis of what we call the 42 negative confessions. If one lives righteous, virtuous, what happened? One will be able to say what? One has not committed any offenses, going down the list of 42 negative confessions. At one time, I can only advise for maybe 5 or 6. Now I can say them all. Okay, that's the difference. Moving on, I'm almost done. But upon uttering these words, the deceased takes on what? A new name. Who you become. Instead of me being P-Funk, my name become Asar P-Funk. Why? I crossed over. I'm going home to the Father. Asar, which sits on the throne, which when your heart and your spirit is light as a feather, you sit on his throne with him and you become one with him. You don't sit on the right hand of him. That's not our concept. You become one with him. That's who you are. That's where you come from, and that's where you go back to. The physical body stays here at earth. The spirit goes back home if it's enlightened. That's the caveat that obviously y'all forgot to put that in. All I got to do is pray and believe I'm going to have it. No. But no, y'all do say prayer without works. So that's the caveat with that. So understand, praying and no works means nothing. I told you that, the whole concept. And wrap this up. Again, I appreciate you tuning in. But in order for you to become Asar, some things you have to do, and that's living Mayat. Now, in the heart, I done read this to you before. I don't want to do that again. Where we at over here? I got Anubis. Okay. Look at the clock. Let me wrap this up. So let me talk right here. Now, Asar P-Funk goes through his own virtuous life. I had to earn that title. Nobody gets there. Tell him, Dr. Clark, no exceptions through how you live. And it's allowed, watch this, allowed to take or fashion what? A new glorious body. Hello. And to what? Live in eternity. Where? With Asar. Thus, Asar P-Funk, the individual, human soul, meets and joins with what? Asar, his supreme soul, where he come from. That's how you get back home. We had that concept thousands of years ago, way before your Bible, way before Christians even thought of. So this signifies, wrapping it up right now, this signifies that our own nature is that of what? Universal consciousness. That's why you got to meditate. God is mental. And what was separated only by what? Ignorance of self is now what? Reunited when they tell you what? You woke up, you resurrected, you reached knee high, spiritual enlightenment, and now what? You had amnesia, so now you remember. You know thyself. Eureka, I got it. It is only due to what? Ignorance and world distractions in the world of what? Desirable objects of the flesh that we think we are what? Individual human beings with bodies which are what? Mortal. In reality, we are immortal spiritual beings and eternal beings who are what? Here to have a human experience, who are one with the universal universe and each other. We all are the same accord. Why? The gift, spirit, all one. We think because we individual, he give you that. But you got to become conscious of who you really are because you really don't know. That's what we come here for. To what? Find out. Oh, not to be rich and famous? No. Hello? Moving on. I'm wrapping up right now. So, in the ancient Egyptians, did you know that the number 7, I got that lesson come up, as in the chakra system of India, those who achieve no higher than the rings of Mayat, the scales, there are 7 rings, like the 7 chakras. And watch this. Those who reach no higher than 3rd chakra are considered to be what? People of the same level of consciousness as what? The animals. You know fight or flight. You know how to survive. And you know how to mate. That's the 3 levels that most people live on, and that's why they reincarnate. Because why? And those people will have no, but what? I just told you, those who live on that level, what? They can live like that, but guess what? Those will have to be what? Reincarnated in order to further evolve beyond that stage. You gotta reach the 7th level, okay? Masons, the first 3 degrees means nothing personally, but upon what? Your reincarnating, what happened? They will once again have the what? The possibility and the chance and ability to what? Confronting life again, experiences, situations which will what? Afford them what? The opportunity to perform what? Right action this time. Until you get it right. Right action is what you have to learn. Correct and right feeling and right thinking deed will lead to what? Right and correct being, which is the goal to be what we really are. What? one with God. That's the pin dropper right there. My goal is to get you to know that for yourself. I know that. Our angels knew that. Now it's up to my people now to know that. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. That's what I do for you. That's my lesson. I'm out. And in closing, right thinkers, may you all live to be 100. Me, 100 minus a day. So I never know that my Djehuti understands this. I passed away. He ain't a real person. He's an aspect of your character.